Hello, and welcome back to the Game Character Design Fundamentals course. My name is David Kegg, I'm a concept artist and illustrator, and in this lesson we're going to dig into the second step of character design, thumbnails. So let's get started. When developing a new character, many professional concept artists in the video game and entertainment industries start their design process with a character's silhouette. A strong silhouette relies heavily on the use of basic design shapes to provoke a subconscious reaction from the viewer. Many pros begin their process with silhouette because silhouette is arguably the best and most basic way of making your character designs exciting and iconic. This process allows them to generate a wide array of ideas and potential designs very quickly and with minimal effort. The silhouette is also a key element of communicating to the player a ton of valuable information about the character. Probably a lot more information than you might think. By the end of this video, you will understand why having a strong silhouette in your design is so important, and you will also have some practical tools and techniques to jumpstart your creativity and help you think outside the box. So let's explore the purpose of designing with silhouette, and why it's so valuable to a great character design. First, let's clarify what I mean when I say the character's silhouette. A silhouette is the overall volume or shape that character takes up in 3D space. In simple terms, and for our purposes as 2D concept artists, you can also think of the silhouette as the outline, or more specifically, the overall solid shape of that character. So why is focusing on the silhouette early in the process so important? Well, from an artistic standpoint, the silhouette is usually the first impression we have of the character. Our eyes tend to be drawn towards unique and interesting shapes, and a good silhouette will maximize the readability of the character. The silhouette will show the character's action or pose, which helps us to understand who the character is and what they do. This pose of the character should also not obscure the extremities too much. A character's arms, legs, wings, tentacles, and so on should be shown, and should not cover up or obscure the character or costume design. Here we have two similar designs for a fantasy orc warrior. While this character design is similar in both costume and design, we can see two very different silhouettes. On the left, we have what I would consider a bad silhouette. The silhouette is boring and doesn't show the action that's taking place. This orc has his weapons and extremities hidden within the silhouette, which obscures his costume and hinders the readability of his design. In contrast, on the right, the shape of the silhouette is much more interesting and dynamic. This silhouette emphasizes the action and gesture of the pose, and pulls the arms away from the body, making the costume design much more readable. This is a much better silhouette. Now, this might come as a bit of a surprise, but the silhouette is also a critical part of teaching the player about the character and their role within the game. A unique silhouette makes sure the character can be recognized and identified quickly. It also gives the player a sense of the character's functions or what abilities they have. And it helps communicate to the player who this character is, their personality and relationship to the player. First, let's talk about identification. Video games today can be extremely fast-paced and chaotic. In many of these games, the player, whether they realize it or not, relies heavily on a unique and quickly recognizable silhouette to identify potential threats and react accordingly. This is, in part, a learned recognition that the player is taught through trial and error as they play the game, but is helped a great deal by unique and iconic character silhouettes. Here are two very different character designs: our orc warrior from before, and a human rogue. Each of these character silhouettes are distinct, and represents a completely different character type, each with its own unique abilities, strengths, and weaknesses. Being able to quickly differentiate and identify the two characters as an enemy threat or as a helpful ally may be the difference between victory and defeat. Second, the silhouette communicates the function of the character, what the character does or the role they play within the game. The silhouette of the warrior on the left is large, bulky, and heavy. It's made up of big, chunky shapes, and communicates to the player that this character is probably heavily armored, highly defensive, and moves in slow, lumbering movements. In contrast, the silhouette of the rogue is lean, light, and made up of streamlined shapes and flowing lines. This tells the viewer that the character is fast, nimble, and relies on her speed to give her an edge in combat. Finally, the silhouette plays a key role in showing characterization, the character's personality or relationship to the player. The warrior's silhouette is hunched and crooked, with sharp and jagged shapes. This communicates that the character may be dangerous, aggressive, or hostile towards the player. This kind of shape language is generally used for villains and monsters. While on the right, the silhouette of the rogue is more round, curving, and flowing. This helps the player know that this character is kind and friendly. She's the player's friend and ally, and she is safe for the player to be around. So now that we're starting to understand the importance of a strong silhouette, let's go one step deeper into this topic and talk about basic design shapes and shape language. As you design your thumbnails, it's important to keep in mind the shapes you're using to construct your silhouettes. Within design, virtually everything can be broken down into 3 design shapes: the triangle, the circle, and the rectangle. These shapes are powerful design tools and actually carry subconscious meaning for the viewer. These shapes can actually provoke emotional responses towards your character designs.